All right, welcome to Mr. Freeman's class. We're talking about entrepreneurship. This is for entrepreneurship students. Okay, we're moving forward. We were talking about risk before. Now we're talking about economic risk in business and how it plays a factor. And depending on how you view it and use it, how it can help you or how it can harm you. So types types of business conditions that you need to understand that the economic risks are. Let's get the marker out real quick. Is you got to understand your type amount of competition, key things. So I have this pie over here, circle the pie, and I have some people racing to it. And that's your competition. You got to understand competition. And when you're in the business industry, you're racing to get your product, your innovation, your software, whatever it might be, out there, your services before your competition. You're trying to be better and greater than them. You want the bigger slice of that pie, not that small slice. You want that big slice. Okay, so you need to understand your competition and how they move, how they have their drive, and understand how you can become better than them and you can get the larger slice of that market. That's a key risk that you need to understand because depending on your competition depends on how you're going to be able to enter that market and how you're going to be successful. Okay, we got inflation and recession. Ooh, my line is terrible now. Recession, inflation both affect the success of your business. Recession right now is one of the things that we're seeing that with the COVID-19 pandemic, how it's affecting consumer spending, especially if you look at the small business, because small business doesn't offer some of these pickup services and ease of shopping through online and other factors because of lack of funding that they have, that you've seen so many small businesses go out of business. Even though they're trying to be innovative and compete with a larger uh, competition, it's slowly, making that gap, from here to here a lot bigger because they don't have the sources of funding to do so, and then to even get it would probably put them out of business. So that this pandemic recession that we're seeing here has dramatically hurt the small business industry, but has dramatically helped the larger industries um, and businesses grow and become more successful because of the changes that we've seen due to change in shopping habits and trends and things like that. So recessions, depending on how they go, it can affect industries dramatically. They always do. One of the things that we're seeing a lot, especially also, is you're seeing the clothing industry die down. Retail, you're seeing that a lot of these retail stores because don't have money to spend too. Then they're worried about the pandemic. They're just not going to these locations. So recession is something important that you need to understand and how it affects your business. Other than the next thing we'll skip to is we're going to talk about products. So you got to understand that if your product becomes obsolete or if you're going to change it, you got to understand how does that change. If your product's obsolete, why it became obsolete, what are the risk factors that are going on in your market, what changes are happening, because products change and grow. Look at, for example, we can talk about the Dyson vacuum cleaner right now. The Dyson vacuum cleaner had changed the market of vacuum cleaners and innovated the way people were looking at vacuum cleaners, got rid of the bags to go to disposable bags, and now they have cordless vacuums, and they brought out the cordless vacuums instead of having the corded vacuum. And so it's made the ease of doing things a lot easier for the consumer. And now we've got even further to now we got iRobots that vacuum and mop for you. So consumers have have variety of options depending on what their needs are and how much money they can spend. And when you're in that market, it's in the vacuum cleaner market, you gotta understand where you sit and how your competition is changing and how the product's changing and how you're gonna be able to compete with that. I believe this next one is probably one of the most important ones right here. My lines are terrible, you guys. Is government policies and regulations. Policies and regulations dramatically cause one can cause inflation in cost because of taxes and increased cost factors to produce a good, to also obsolete, not even allow a product to be produced because of the regulations set in place. So when you get into industry, you need to look and make sure the first thing is, okay, you got your project, you got your idea. Are you gonna be able to do it? Does the government policies and regulations allow that product to be able to grow, be successful, and make your business move forward? The next one that we're talking about is natural risks in business. There's always natural risks. So you got this graph over here. You can see so much information. You got winter storms, flooding, wildfires, droughts, tropical cyclones, severe storms, and these are showing the billions of dollars natural disasters that happen each year, and it's going from the 1980s to 2018. Okay, so if we look at flooding, winter storms was number of events was like 14, and looks like it cost $320 billion. Okay, so understanding the cost that these natural disasters cause in businesses. Okay, here in the Houston area down south here in Texas, we're so accustomed to having hurricanes and floods all the time that we know that there's natural disasters almost every year that are going to be causing. Being if you're a business owner, you have to make sure you have flood insurance and a high enough policy to help recoup any damage you might incur during any one of these storms. You know, there's a high chance that it's going to happen every year. There's always hurricanes, and you might not get hit by a hurricane, but you might get the flood. And so you need to understand that these natural disasters cause large amounts of monetary loss, and you need to be set and ready to file a claim on the insurance to recoup some of that loss, so you're able to get back in business and be able to at least get back afloat, so that you can make profits and support yourself and your family. And natural disasters, you need to understand the risks that are located in your specific area and how they can affect your ability to be successful. Human risk. This is a huge factor right here that most people don't understand. And human risk is very important to understand. We'll talk about really quick, get to the point. The biggest thing you got to understand right here, we're going to highlight it, and I have it really bold, is human error and unpredictable. Human error happens all the time. You can't stop it. The only way you stop it is by doing machinery, and that's the reason why you see so many companies going to machineries to reduce the amount of human error that occurs in their production process. It's also unpredictable. Every day things happen, and people just kind of space out here and there, and that's typically when they become distracted is when these incidents happen. Being that I was in the transportation industry and had seen many different incidents and reports in the fuel, just in the fuel industry to just transportation accidents, so forth. The biggest factor was human error and distraction. Human error was distraction of some sort, and that distraction might not have been distracted, not on work, but distracted in the form of being in too much of a rush, or trying to take their time too much, that because they were being too slow, they were distracted in the steps that they should have been taking in the correct manner. So, and that's what makes human error unpredictable, is because we don't know 100% what's always going on in the mind of the individual that caused the error. And several times when someone caused the error, majority don't even remember what they were doing, because their minds were not distracted completely, but just enough that they couldn't remember which steps that they forgot, because they were so routine in doing certain things that they were going through them, and that one thing popped in their mind, they got old, and they just let it slip, and that's where the one thing that they forgot causes an error and causes a mistake to happen. So understand that human error happens. Now, granted, there are where you have other error factors, or you have consumers, employees that are dishonest, and they try to cheat and steal in factors like this. But some of the major mistakes I've seen when I was in the transportation was, most of the time individuals want too much of in a rush and focus on trying to get the task done within a certain time period, and made one small mistake, and because of this had an incident, or because they're trying to take too much of a time to be too precautious, that because they were doing that, they didn't notice the same factor of mistake. So two key things in human risk understanding: human error is unpredictable. Okay, we're gonna stop here. We'll move on to the next section, handling business risk. Well, right now we'll stop. Well, and if you have any questions, then comment below. Y'all have a good day.